Scientific discovery doesn't end in the lab or the clinic. It only reaches its full impact when people understand it. Yet in a world where misinformation spreads quickly and widely, the voices shaping public understanding are often not experts. That's why communicating your science clearly and effectively has never been more important and more essential in your role as a scientist and educator. Hi, I'm Aimee Gardner, Associate Dean for Faculty Development and Director of the Academy of Medical Educators here at the University of Colorado Anschutz School of Medicine. Spend a few minutes with Dr. Aimee Bernard, immunologist and science communication expert, and learn how to translate your science into clear, compelling messages that can extend far beyond the walls of the medical school.
What's the last time that someone outside of science, like a neighbor or relative, asked you a question about your work and you realized you didn't have an easy to understand, ready to go answer? Now imagine that same person turning to social media instead of you and reading that information and finding inaccurate or misleading information. Spoiler alert, this happens every day. Up to 76% of adults between 18 to 29 get their news from social media. As a faculty on a medical campus, we are not just researchers and clinicians, we are educators and trusted experts. Our trainees look to us for content knowledge, but also for guidance on how science fits into society. When we communicate clearly with the public, we strengthen trust in science and medicine, we prepare our learners to do the same, and we increase the impact and visibility of our work. Now, in an era of misinformation, communicating your science is no longer optional. It's an essential component of our professional responsibility. Research in science communication shows that simply presenting more facts does not change beliefs. This is actually known as the deficit model, and it does not work. Instead, studies demonstrate that effective communication relies on framing information in ways that connect to people's values, using narratives and relatable examples, and building trust through transparency and empathy. These approaches are widely supported in health communication, risk communication, and public engagement literature. Hi, I'm Aimee Bernard, an associate professor in the Department of Immunology and Microbiology. I'm an expert in immunology, medical education, and science communication. And part of my work here at CU Anschutz focuses on training and mentoring in science communication to build the next generation of science communicators. I work with healthcare professional students, scientist trainees, and faculty to translate complex biomedical concepts for public audiences to share the amazing science that's happening right here on campus and its profound and positive impacts beyond the walls of academia and paywalls of scientific journals. I help scientists across campus communicate the value of what we do right here at CU Anschutz. In the next few minutes, I'll share 5 practical strategies you can use to communicate your science more effectively with the general public, whether it's in a clinic, the classroom, or on social media. So first, start with what matters to your audience. Instead of starting with mechanisms or data, begin with a question or concern your audience already has. An example would be, instead of saying, "Let me explain how mRNA vaccines work," you could say, "You might be wondering how mRNA vaccines work inside your body. Let me share with you what I know as an immunologist who studies and teaches medical students about vaccines." Second, replace jargon with clear, concrete language. We are trained as scientists and physicians to be precise and use the technical language of our fields, but precision often comes at the cost of clarity. An example is, correlation does not imply causation. Instead, you could say, just because 2 things happen together doesn't mean that one caused the other. Like ice cream sales and sunburns both increase in the summer, but one doesn't cause the other. Third, I would encourage you to use analogies and stories. People remember stories far better than data and statistics. Analogies make abstract concepts tangible. An example is, Describe the immune system with our body's built-in mobile defense force that acts as a security system to recognize intruders and keep us protected from infection. The fourth tip would be acknowledge uncertainty and that scientific discovery is a process. Public trust increases when we are transparent about what we know and what we don't know. Help people understand that science is a process of discovery that evolves and sometimes is updated as new information and data are revealed. An example is, this is what we know so far, and here's what scientists are still studying. The fifth tip would be to engage and not just lecture. Communication is a two-way exchange. You should ask questions, listen actively, and respond to concerns. An example would be, what have you heard about this? Or what concerns you most? These strategies work best when your goal is not just to inform, but to connect. Effective science communication builds trust, improves understanding, and ultimately supports better health decisions and stronger public confidence in science. Remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint. Building relationships and gaining trust often takes time and multiple conversations. This week, I challenge you to take one step. Pick a topic about your research or something you teach regularly and explain it in plain language to someone outside of your field. The future of science depends not just on discovery, but on our ability to share it with the world outside our walls.